To Stephen Kent from Young Boys is up late with me on the Final Five. Stephen comes to us with some credibility here on the issue. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Jim. Doing well. Nice to be with you.
Good to see you as always. So you wrote about this today in the Washington Examiner. You are an Eagle Scout, so I believe you have some credibility to talk about on the issue here. So they're changing the name from Boy Scouts of America to Scouts BSA, and give me your takeaway on that.
Yeah. So I think, first of all, I want to say that I understand people's reluctance to kind of go along here. It's a controversial decision, and conservatives and folks involved with Scouts for a long time, whether it's been part of their families or part of their personal lives, see this understandably as part of a long culture war in this country and sort of an attack from more liberal elements of our society on things like boyhood, on masculinity, and that by doing away with Boy Scouts, it's some sort of statement about boys not being able to be boys, and that we're living in a gender-neutral society. Like, again, like this in the past year, we've had schools come out with ungendered bathrooms. This has been something we've been debating all over the country. So this sort of seems like the next pillar in that debate. But I sort of make the case that it's really not about that. It's about dollar signs.
Okay, so we know the Girl Scouts are not happy about this. No. Obviously, they're not pleased. And we should point out the Boy Scouts said, according to the Associated Press, they came up with the name Scouts BSA during lengthy and, quote, incredibly fun deliberations. But when you change 100-plus years of history, I mean, this is not an easy thing. And I think it speaks to, you talk about the debate, the gender-neutral debate in this country and whether or not masculinity is at stake here. Is this necessary for the Boy Scouts to survive, period?
Yes, it is. Membership in the Boy Scouts is down 10% from where it was just 5 years ago. Civic organizations all over this country are suffering. The JCs, the Masons, these are all groups that are losing members in the double digits in terms of percentages and their annual dues. This is something that you're seeing just because civil society is not as connected as it once was. We don't have as much time these days for things like clubs. Between single-parent households and then also busy lifestyles, membership in the organizations are plummeting. The Boy Scouts are trying to find a way to get whole families involved. And that's sort of the key here. It's not really about making it for girls too. It's about making it so that the entire family can come on a trip and that an entire family can go to Boy Scout meetings together.
Couldn't you do that even if it was still called Boy Scouts?
Yeah, you could do that, but if you're going to be adding in girls to the scouting mission, it just sort of doesn't make sense long term to let that linger. They're just going to eventually have to make it about scouting. And that's what it's always been. Now, there's not so much gender bending going on here as people like to think. Boys and girls are still going to be separated into their own individual troops, and they're going to go on separate trips. They're going to be in separate campsites, but they're going to be doing central activities together, like when you do your weekly meetings, things like that. There's not going to be just sort of a disacknowledgement that boys and girls are different. Boy Scouts of America recognizes that, and they're leaning into that entirely. They're just making it so that more people can participate in scouting and benefit from the values that they've been promoting for 108 years, which I would argue are positive and worth sharing.
Stephen, we're almost out of time here. I want to show everybody your credentials firsthand. I asked you, we wanted to see some proof. We wanted to see the receipts. There you are as an Eagle Scout at years. What year was that?
Young man?
What year was that?
That would have been probably 2007.
All right. So before we go, as we look at more pictures, you have a young daughter, and I have to ask, and there's you sleeping right now.
That's me in my element right there.
What does your daughter want to do? Does she want to be a Girl Scout? Does she want to be a Cub Scout?
She wants to be a Cub Scout. It's not a knock against the Girl Scouts of America or anything. It's just sort of an alignment of interest. When you look at the curriculums, they are very different curriculums, and they cater to different kinds of people. She's just interested more in the things that the Boy Scouts are doing. And when she actually heard me talking about this today with someone, she got so excited. And she said, I feel like they're going to respect the girls now in Boy Scouts. And I was like, well, they're always going to respect you. But, it's just a good move for their brand and getting more families involved. Gotcha. I'm excited now that I can take my daughter to Boy Scouts of America meetings for Scouts BSA.
There you go. Stephen Kent, always good to see you. And we're going to tweet the